Hey guys, let's talk about the float wheel. In my case, the ADV Pro. I wanted to make this video just for general buyers and everyone who is interested in how this board functions and performs in real life. Since they rolling out, more and more people getting hands-on float wheel experiences. So I just wanted to, gather my thoughts and let you guys know what I feel about this board. Out of the box, it's amazing. It's insane. I have 16,000 kilometers in these boards, and also I start out with a pint back in the day in 2020, and so far what I can see, this was my main board, the One Wheel GT for 6,000 kilometers. Unfortunately, the battery gave up, so now I have overcharge at 78% if I brake too hard, and I have out of juice warning below 69%, probably due to a battery issue. But hit me up in the comments what it could be. I hope I can fix it, because I have a hardware which is not supported by the new Chia batteries, the CBGT battery. So yeah, the 6407. Anyway, this board was amazing. They had design flaws like extending the rim size for a tank, which you drop and can break the rim, then it will be just again an expensive paperweight as you unplug the battery. And of course, as future motion going into an more enclosed ecosystem, while also making moves on letting people fix things. So now we are able to change our tires. The float wheel is a totally different dimension here. It is what you need if you are a one wheel addict. I mean, you can, guys, obviously go with the Nixar, and get the controller or even swap the batteries and make it a Wesk. I will tell you more about this, because actually the form factor and the weight of the boards and the weight differences between this beefy ass boy and this tiny ass little trick machine, it makes the word. So based on what are your preferences, how you would like to ride the most, your decision will vary, around certain parameters. Because definitely I now have several hundred kilometers on the float wheel, and I took it outside here in the forest. It's not like nice bike roads, but rather trails with U-shaped wheel holes where you can go around, but it's also dried out because it's mostly used for cutting trees out here, the forest next to me. And it is super difficult to get on those terrains. I think those guys who get lost in some forest knows what I'm talking about. And this board is so freaking powerful and power hungry. It actually, when you go on a trail like this shape, and you go here with the wheel, it actually wants to eat up the sidewall, and you don't have time to react, and you fall off. So definitely there's possibilities to tune it to be more buttery. What I'm talking about here regarding the Floatwheel ADV, we have 84 volts in the battery, and it's a 20S 2P battery, and it is super powerful. If you guys see the equivalent version of this for the XRs are the race packs rolling out quite some time now, and they're used to actually win races. If you watch social media or follow the guys, those are super insane, because you can get the extra power, extra torque you want it. this thing actually wants you to go with 40 kilometer per hour. I mean, sorry for using the metric system, but I'm in Europe. I don't think I will translate them in text in the video, but yeah, it is 40 kilometer per hour. It's like 26-ish Merfel per hour, I'm not sure, but it's super insane. I mean, usually with the GT you go 32 easily, 35 it's now a Captain Morgan, 37 comes a bit sketchy, 40 kilometer hours with the GT is better when you go downhill and you have a good pavement, and then you are not afraid for your life. But there are also guys, you know, who can push it up to 45 kilometer per hour, even the GT. But this one, 40 kilometer per hour is like, yeah, go, let's go, we won't die, I can do it, I can take it, you know. That's how the Floatwheel goes. It's like, let's go, man, let's go, explore the whole fucking world. It's amazing, you know. It's just truly touches my heart, because I'm mostly, you know, a trail rider. I like to explore, I like to take adventures, like the ADV stands for, and it's super amazing. And what I also figured out for myself as I was following, you know, how Future Motion takes an approach on the business side of things, and as they actually closing out people to be able to touch the boards, I think it's a good, you know, strategy in wise if you want to keep the money in house. But as a community member, I really don't like it. I'm an engineer, man. I know robotics, I like programming, I like DIY, but for me also the West world is super new, because this is how I got invested in the West world. Getting the Floatwheel, I don't have so much time, you know, to tinker with now making the XR, for example, a West. That will be the next thing, if I figure this one out is good for me. But so far so good, because West gives you all the potential, you know, you need if you are an addict and like me and you know, also back and forth with the float life all day all night. And yeah, this board is super tough. I used only the default parameters Tony were provided, so I just wanted to make the video before I start tinkering with the board, you know, setting the parameters up for myself, because I wanted this review for you guys to be as general as possible. And definitely there are some flags. They are not red flags, but orange flags. If I would say, if you are a new rider, you are just getting to know, you know, what is one wheeling about, then maybe start with the Future Motion product. Or maybe if you want to buy the Floatwheel, of course, man, go for it. But don't tinker with the parameters that much. This one is flipping perfect. So that's why I wanted to talk about this. Like Tony made it sure, you know, the tuning is adequate enough for less experienced drivers as well, let's say, so you don't have to afraid for your life. This board will keep you up, you know, all the time. But if you want to go into details how the board behaves, yeah, you're welcome to do so, because this is not Future Motion. You are now dealing with the Floatwheel, which you bought in cryptocurrency. And there are parts they need to settle for themselves between the companies. I don't really care about. But what I can say, as I took like my first 100 kilometers on the Floatwheel, I already knew that this will be my choice of board, like all the flipping time, like all the time. Because except when I go and try to practice tricks, and it was already, you know, circulating in the internet, this board is heavy. As I took it on the forest, I can even feel, you know, the 2 kilograms difference from the GT. It's like, I think this one is like 20 something kilograms, The GT is 16 kilograms, and this one is 13 kilograms, like my nephew. So yeah, I used to hold the XR to, you know, train for holding my nephew, whatever. But you can feel the weight. So if you want to be agile, if you want to go fast, then consider this. The Floatwheel will be heavy for you, but you know, also there's a battery which I just took out yesterday for a 30-kilometer ride, and I only get down 50%. And I wasn't using it all the time at 40 kilometer per hour's average, like in the first video I showed you guys with the speed and range test. There I was going insane in the first third of the range I could be able to get out from the board. There was actually the first 13 kilometer I was averaging 40 kilometer per hour, like no joke, around that 38ish I think, but it's still insane, like averaging that time in the first 13 kilometers. And then we went out to the forest. Also there's a short about what we were doing in the forest with my friend Zoltan, and we were testing it, you know, going uphill. There was also like a problem, like the clearance here is smaller than what you get even on the GT, but it's way less what you get on the XR. So if you don't have the knowledge how to tune these things in the Vestool, then you will have problems, or you have to adjust it manually here, and then obviously it will have the power. So it was never about the power. If I go up on curbs which I couldn't even touch before, like, you know, just only hitting the nose on the curb because it's too high for me, and then I couldn't do the ninja kick like Alibi said. But with this one, it's like I go in there and then it eats up, and it even gives the noise like, you know, this sound, like when it grabs the fucking concrete. It's insane. I love it. I love it. It takes me up. It helps me, you know, to practice my technique. So, but even when my technique is super bad, it's just like, yeah, let's go, man, let's go. I got you. I'm Floatwheel. You know, I have the power. I have all the horses you need, man. And it feels freaking amazing. I don't have this with the GT. I assumed to have it when I bought it, but I didn't. I had an increased, a much better experience power-wise with the GT than the XR, but I thought this will be a much beefier product. I couldn't even use the custom shaping before the battery dropped dead, so that's about that. But this guy, man, it's like, I think it can go at least 50-60 kilometers in range if you take it on a 20 kilometer per hour average basis, and but it can still give you around 30 kilometers if you pushing the soul out from this board, like pushing it so hard, you know, your spiritual astral body is leaving your actual body because you're so fast. Like, so you can do these things. And but there's also, you know, other things we need to talk about. Tuning these things up in the Vestool will give you a great advantage, you know, to adapt the board to your personal needs. But also you give yourself a chance to kill yourself every single time when you mess up a parameter you don't know how to tinker with, and that is dangerous. So Proclaimer, please guys, always save the models, as Surf Dado and other guys from the West group always say, save the model, save the config, and then you have something to get back to if you fuck up the tuning. But otherwise, just getting the Floatwheel out of the box, using Tony's video to set it up with the first config. If you don't mess up, you know, the configuration calibration parts, then you will have a beast out of the box, and you might not even need to touch it. But of course, like I did, you know, with the forest and climbing up sidewalls, that was too stiff and tight for me. I will definitely use it. And now I also see, you know, at some slopes, even the board could, you know, go up super easy. I cannot fit it below the nose, so I need to able to tinker with, you know, the nose tilt and such. So, but yeah, I was out there. Here are plenty of hills and mountains, and I took it up like, I think it was at least 17% incline. I think in the with the GT, the future motion guys did around 40 and 50%, but I could not get up with the GT on that hill when I tried previously. And this one is like, yeah, no problem, man. Let's go, let's go. I have no fucking problem with this. I do my job. That's what it's meant for, you know, that's what it's meant for. And every single thing goes wrong in this one. You just go up on a website and buy the part and get it shipped and replace it, and then you good to go again. Wow, wow. We are here in 2023, we can do things like this. Wow, it's amazing. But obviously it has the dangers, because when you go so fast, you know, you go so confident. Every single guy and girl know this meme from the internet about, you know, the learning curves. When in the beginning you go up and then you crash down, and it will take you so much longer, you know, to climb back up. And when with the float wheel you crash down, you might going to the cemetery, you know, so like, or the hospital. So please be you know, aware of this. It's a super powerful machine, so tinkering with a powerful machine also bringing great difficulties, or might bring. But this aside, the plastic is still brittle. You know, I had like these where were those parts? Yeah, I was talking about the front bumper, how they got shipped. I think only one part was cracked, but now both of the sides are cracked. Don't worry about it. Tony got me covered, and already sending the replacement parts until he figures out, you know, what is the best mixture for this plastic to not be so brittle and fragile. He will actually, you know, tell all of us when the solution is ready. Until then, he cannot do much more, but, you know, keeping us on float and sending us replacement when we need it. I don't know how much this business approach can be maintained, but let's see. Maybe it's super cheap. I don't know. I have no clue. The build quality of the rail, everything which is aluminum, it's amazing. I mean, it already cut me up, you know, when I climbed up on this sidewall in the forest going in the U trails. And yeah, speed wise, I talked about that. Yeah, I also need to talk about the low battery states. So I took it out obviously on this speed and range test. We didn't record the end of it, unfortunately, because, you know, I was not aware of how a VESC board behaves on low battery states. Obviously, I know now there are warnings, you know, for myself to set up in the VESC tool app, you know, so I can know or be aware when something goes wrong, or something is getting to a less stable state on low battery voltage. But I didn't know, so I just genuinely wanted to find out for myself with the default settings from Tony what will happen. And what happened is, I was on a main road, you know, cars can go 90 km/h, and I was luckily going with my friend, and we were still averaging at around 26-30-ish km/h, and I was telling him like, hey man, we need to slow down because I can still run out 20 km, and it was already hitting the like immediate cutoff, and I had to run it out. So yeah, by that time the board was already depleted from energy. The default settings, if I remember correct, is set to 3.2 volts for each cell voltage as the lowest threshold. So if you sum that up with 20 cells, then you get 63 point, I don't know, something volts. Therefore you can still set this lower. I was a battery engineer in Denmark. We built high power chargers for electric cars. It's an invention. You can check it out, nervsmartsystems.com. And there we were using lithium ion batteries. There we were running the batteries from 2.5 volts up to 3.7 in the beginning. But then we realized, yeah, that's quite damaging, and it's also super hard to catch those slopes because the lithium ion battery characteristic, I don't know which side you are, guys, but from me this is from 0 or T0, and this is TK from here to there. If you go like this, then the battery from 100% goes like this. It's a great slope in the end, and then it's quite linear in the middle, more from I don't know, 10% to 90 something percent, and at the end it drops down if you choose your values to be 3.7 and 2.5. So it's super dangerous. I wouldn't recommend doing it, but we did it, with the car charger, already looking at lithium ion batteries and how they can withstand these kind of limits. They were fine. They degraded a bit more, but you can get out hell of a ranges from this one just by setting Tony's default 3.2 volts lower to 3 or even 2.8 volts. Those things I think should be fine, but disclaimer again, if you do that, then you will kill your board's battery and capacity much faster. So yeah, when it reached the cutoff voltage, it actually dropped down. I had no beep before, I had nothing. Maybe it's my part because Tony's installation didn't include this and I didn't set it up for myself because I just wanted to use the stock guide for Floatwheel, so I can test what everyone else probably tests, when they get the board from the box and set it up. So yeah, I also had these mini fenders, now I talked with Tony, I will get an actual fender top for this one, a blue one, but I couldn't fit these first. Now they probably go in. Yes, they go in. I deflated the tire to 5 psi. That's just another thing. Like, yeah, now these fenders go in. And also I was talking with Tony about the tire rubbing. He told me to deflate the tire, for night, like super deflated, let it set, and then inflate it back, and then the rubbing will disappear. That's what he said. Honestly, I was just deflating the tire because I had this fall because of the super high PSI and the super aggressive, performance of the motor. So I was just like, yeah, if I push the PSI down, then I will just have a flowy, buttery, smooth experience going the rest down from the forest, from the mountains, going back home. And yeah, it was like in Star Wars when Anakin sits into these race cars, like, oh my god, it's like just low PSI and having a board which has the greatest range. It's amazing. It's amazing to experience. It was super nice, and yeah. So that's that. The tire rubbing can be fixed like this. Also, this Forza tire, yeah, it's like super similar to the Enduro one. We were comparing, the patterns of the Forza and of the Enduro. There are some changes. Wink, wink. So it's not exactly the same, but this is tech rails, right? So thanks Shoemaker for making this reality, so they can actually somehow be ghosted away into this Chinese product, because I love it. you guys settled all these businesses already, so I don't think that's a big problem. And yeah, I think that's most of it. Charging it with the hypercharger, yeah, it's insane. Like it goes up to full charge in 45 minutes. So like how you're riding you're riding it for 1.5 hours, and in 45 minutes, it's already charged up. Like it's insane. It's insane, but it's so good. I love it. I'm a bit concerned about how the state of health of my batteries here uh, will keep up, but now I have a website where I can buy a replacement battery, so why should I care? I'm a one-wheel addict, so I'm using this board every single day anyway. I'm putting it through to its paces, and also, you have to push long on the power button to turn it off. I didn't know that first. I only thought mine cannot be turned off only with plugging it onto the charger. But no, if you do double taps on the power button, then you get the lights going up, so the brightness. It will beep also, so if you tap it twice, then it beep twice, so it's the second level, and then beep 3 times if it's the third level, the brightest option. We also tested that at night, where there's no light source at all in the forest at night. Only the stars in the sky, gives us some glimpses of where the fuck we are, at least, and of course our phones, but I wanted to be more poetic here. The lights are super good. You can see, the rest of the world, maybe too much. So don't go full brightness if you don't want to blind people when you are in areas where people can still walk in front of you. Yeah, the power is superior to all the boards I saw before. I just have my friend from Burner's crew, Richard. He just finished 1 day ago his super flux build, and it is a beast. It is at 64% duty cycle at 40 km/h. So it's like, what the? Yeah, so basically this board is still can go more up. I was at 77-80% rather 80% with 40 km/h in duty cycle. So definitely told me I have to get into the West tool more and tune the configuration. So guys, if you use the default setting, I let you know you can get even more out. But I don't want to promise, I don't know. I'm just trusting the Burner's crew owner, Richards, who knows it all about Wesk. So yeah, I'm super excited to keep riding on this board. I feel heavily invested in it. Now I feel safe on the board, but obviously I need to talk about a little bit about pushback. I don't feel pushback at all. I like that because I know the speeds. I already have a familiarity of how fast I go, and I don't want to spend my time riding Captain Morgan and then going to a chiropractic session to put my legs back together because I was always standing up like this. So I'm fine with not having pushback, but I need warnings. I get this what is it, audible feedback in my ears or on the speaker of my phone of how fast I go, what is the duty cycle, but I need a warning, a beep or something, where I know that the board is getting out of its performance ranges, so it's not good for me to push it further. So yeah. I think that's most of it. So if you like to know when you need to brake because of the pushback, you probably set that in as well. For me, it's just a nice, genuine surprise that I don't even feel pushback yet. So maybe I can go above 50 kilometer per hour. I don't know, but I really don't want to try it out because there are not many, pads and gears which can hold you up when you're sliding on concrete with 50 kilometer per hour. I think some of you guys were been there, done that, and also your insurance bills and hospitality bills are, up at the roof. So, yeah. I think that's it. You can also use the Float Control app, the Floaty app, the Vestool app. The Float Control has an iOS version to the watch that's super amazing. I can see how fast I go and the duty cycle while riding, not looking at the phone. I love that. And generally, I just love this board. It's a bit heavier, so I can see people saying that having trick board less weighted or a board with less weight for tricks. I can totally see that coming, because even when I drop this or when I climb up on something, or when there's a sudden ankle movement because there was I hitting a hole or a branch or a root or something or a stone, and then there's a sudden ankle movement, then I can feel for my ankle that is much more heavier, to get back things where they supposed to be. And that is scary. So that part is scary, and that is definitely important to highlight, because you cannot get out much. So you cannot get out weight from this one. It is as heavy as it is. So you need to have stronger ankles to maintain this beast. So that's another thing. So maybe if you are slim, a small guy, maybe consider something else. I don't know. You know your ankle training coach. I don't. So yeah, that's something you need to consider. And yeah, I think I talked about everything I wanted to. If you still have questions for me, just shoot it in the comments. I try to answer them. And yeah, and if there's so many questions that I still need to make another video about this, then I will do. But thanks for much watching, and float on, my friends. Let's go. Because I am out of my mind.